Welcome to another episode of Rising Tide Startups Podcast. This is Kevin Pruitt, and my special guest today is Nerea Carryon. Nerea, please tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Yes, as Kevin said, my name is Nerea Carryon. Never give up. And this is definitely one of my slogans. I'm from Spain, España, and I came to London 8 years ago. I came for 6 months 8 years ago. So I basically stayed over. And I've done so many things here. You know, I guess for people who have been in London, you know how it works. At the beginning, you kind of work in everything and, you know, everywhere. I was doing modeling. My background is in economics. I studied economics. So I was an accountant as well. I was working for a few businesses, for a few companies. Then I kind of focused in the modeling side for a year or so. Like I was just doing it full time. Then I came back to finance. So basically I ended up working in a broker's company in finance, in one of the top broker's companies in the world, called Pallet Prebon. Maybe some of you know, is next to ICAP. And I met, like, the whole experience in London has grown me so much. Like, it's unbelievable, like the massive change that I've experienced. But in the meantime, all this time, I was actually very interested in coaching and personal development for myself, never thinking that I would dedicate my life to it. Right. And after finance, I decided to actually start my own business. I started 3 businesses. 3 businesses closed, miserably failed. And the final one is being, the one for the last 4 years is being the Happy World Company. And that's what I do now. I work at the Happy World Company. That's my business. And I'll tell you more about it through the interview. But mainly, I just wanted to say that, I've changed career many times. And I'm very, very open to changing career if anyone is thinking about it. Talk to me.
Well, I think the last interview I had, we were talking to the person we were interviewing. I said that's the definition of pivot, when you change course in your career path. But you and I have the economics background in common. So I studied economics in university as well. So yeah, that's interesting that our paths have crossed. So
right, yeah.
So tell me just give me the elevator pitch kind of backstory of how you went from the brokerage company to starting the Happy World Company. And you also have to tell them about this really special music video. Okay,
yes, I will. That which was created in finance when I was still there. So I think that really connects the dots there. Even though I didn't know I was going to do the Happy World Company. I didn't have a clue about it. But anyway, so yes, it's been interesting because when people ask me why you do what you do, the main reason is for my own massive change. Like I was very insecure and shy and I'm not very happy as well. So my massive change helped me to actually move into the career that I'm following now. When I was in finance, you know, I was in the office and it was an amazing experience. I was traveling Europe in first class. Like I was doing all this cool stuff and like going to these amazing events, building relationships with people all over Europe and all over the world. But like basically, it felt like when I was going there, I was the happiest person in the whole financial world, right? And comparing, and I wasn't that happy, but comparing to the average of the people there, I felt like something was not aligned with me, like the environment and what was happening. So to give you an example, like I used to come to the office all like happy and like, hey, good morning, everyone. And they would just ask me, why are you so happy? And I will say like, why are you so sad? And this links to the song. But like, I think that was the last reason why, or the last thing that engaged me to do something else with my life, or to do something different, or to do something about it. Because for me, when I see basically these people, they had all the resources in the world. I mean, not all in the world, but you know, their salaries and the conditions and the lifestyle is higher than most of the people average, right? Most of the average. So I was like, but they still felt quite frustrated and like in a cage, or like they didn't really I didn't feel they were free people,
Mm.
like people who express and who is just like open. And I was like, what's happening here is not only that they are shy, but they not fulfilled. I felt like
Right.
they were not fulfilled. And the interesting thing is that when I was meeting my clients, which were traders from the different banks, uh, I used to, because they were quite shy people, quite reserved, because the traders, you're all day in the computer. So when it comes to socializing and opening up, they're a bit more reserved. And so what happened is that I was coaching them. Like I found myself coaching them or having conversations,
Hmm.
one to one, where I will ask them questions that I asked myself in all these years. And I was, I felt myself doing that. So that was, I think, once I started to feel a little bit empty about the job and a little bit frustrated about it and not really wanting to go to work,
Uh-huh.
I asked myself what was good about this job. And the thing was that one of the things that was really outstanding for me was those conversations I was having with people. And that, I think, is what opened my eyes into, oh, maybe I could do this professionally. Maybe this is a job. Maybe what I'm doing
Hmm.
and how I'm helping these guys to understand why they don't get the results they want, why they don't get the girlfriend or the boyfriend they want, why this is happening to them. Maybe this is a job. So I started to then explore a little bit more about coaching and, professionally how I could do it, workshops, etc. But the transition, what I wanted to say is that was kind of what started opening my eyes into different career. But the entrepreneurial side came also because when I was in finance, they basically pretty much gave me a computer and a business card and the office, and they said, make money, right? Like that. So I kind of found myself having my own business into a business, and having also the modeling background. It also, like, I had to sell myself at all times.
Sure.
So I felt like so powerful in a way. I was like, oh my God, I'm having my own business here. I did my own business in modeling.
Mm.
Maybe I did my own business outside this business, right? So that's when I started to think about it. And it hasn't been easy, as most of entrepreneurs know. It's not an easy journey. And before I started the Happy World company, I actually opened 3 other businesses which had nothing to do with coaching. And I felt like I was actually procrastinating into my real passion. But I don't know if some entrepreneurs might know this, but sometimes you jump into other businesses because you think if they are easier, you're going to make more money doing them. But actually you don't focus in what you really, really love. So just for people to know that it wasn't straightforward into the Happy World company, but I actually started other businesses before, and everything started from a blog called For a Happy World, and that was my starting point for the Happy World company, where we run workshops, etc. But anyway, yeah, the transition was pretty. It wasn't straightforward, but it definitely was. Yeah, like full of challenges and experiences. It was great. Yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question. I hope so.
Absolutely. So, what would you say would be the lowest point since you started the Happy World company?
I had to fire someone,
Mm.
and that was painful, to be honest. It took me
Yeah.
very long to actually ask her to go. It was painful. The relationship was intense. It was I was so happy about being able to book it, to hire someone full time,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I had failed into it, or that perhaps wasn't the right person that the business needed.
Uh-huh.
That was really tough. I struggled a little bit to tell her and to make the decision. I think to tell her was fine, but to make the decision to do it, oh my God, that was hell. That was difficult.
Yeah.
I was really hurt. It was painful. And not only because I was changing her career, because obviously suddenly I'm taking her out, and obviously she has to change her plans, and she changed her entire career because of this. So I felt quite responsible for it. And of course, because that only meant that the business wasn't doing well with her, and that was very low for the business
Mm-hmm.
financially. So it was like bleh,
So it was
everything
not
went
a
down.
performance issue. It was the fact that the revenue was not enough to keep her employed.
Yes, but what I'm thinking is obviously there was a connection because sometimes usually ideally for a small business what you want is to hire someone who is going to increase the revenue.
Right.
But if it doesn't happen, then you can only hire someone else, but then that's going to be difficult for the business, or you can get her generating that revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't happen. So either I didn't know how to lead her into creating that revenue, or she didn't know how to do it, or she just couldn't, whatever was the reason why. It just didn't happen. And that was what was frustrating to me because I thought she's going to make so much money. Like, at least her salary, right? At
Sure.
least it's going to generate one more salary so we can both work here.
Right.
So that was what was kind of painful.
Yeah.
And the fact that we couldn't manage to do it together, that was like a shame, really.
Listeners, don't go by this too quickly. I want you to really park on what Nerea just said, that the idea of hiring an employee is, you have to consider both sides of that equation. You have to think, okay, was this the employee's inability to do the job and to generate that revenue, or is it my inability to lead them into that? And I really appreciate the fact that you were wrestling with that. You were
Yeah.
really trying to determine in your mind, are they just unable to do it, or am I not leading well? So that's a great point. And we never want to end on a low note. So bring me to the highest of high that you've experienced since you started your company.
The highest, well, actually hiring her, right? That's like low is what you're saying is definitely a very important point, I think, because the tendency is to want to blame someone, right? It's, oh, they didn't do the right job, they didn't do a good job, so they're out now. But really, you're the leader and it's your responsibility. So I always kind of like to take that half responsibility. So the highest really was when I hired her because I was achieving my dream. Like, my dream is not, you see, like, Nerea Carryon is a brand itself. It's myself, right? I do stuff, I do modeling, and then I do entrepreneurial, and then I do talks, and then I do workshops. I do lots of stuff. That's my brand. I do music sometimes, whatever I do. That's Nerea Carryon. But then I have the Happy World Company brand, which is my business. And it's where I put all my investment and all my efforts, etc. Well, I put it in everywhere, but like, really, I want to build this brand, right? Because I believe in something bigger than me, than myself. So for me, like, the dream is not to pay a salary to myself. I can do that. That's proven. I can live and I can generate money for myself. But I really, what I want is to, build a business that is feeding more people, right? Is doing something amazing for the world, for people out there that need our help, but also is actually making someone's life also, basically the business is feeding a lot of people, not only financially, but it's helping other, it's just the whole business is about people. Right. So I just imagine being able to have, a team of professionals who are getting, paid for it, basically. That's the goal, right, of having a business. So that is exciting to me. Of course, doing the business, I'm going to do that anyway. I love it. I love doing my job. But having a team and having a group of people around the world, hundreds of people working for the Happy World Company, this is super exciting to me. So when I managed to get, a couple of employees full time, I was like, yes, it's happening. I was like, yes, my dream is happening. So the high was massive. I was like, oh my God, this is happening. I'm paying taxes for my employees. I was like freaking excited. I was like, and we created this family vibe, and it was beautiful. And she was super excited. He was super excited. I had like 3 people really, really close, and then we had other people working with us in a volunteer basis. Right. And it felt like, oh my God, this is happening. And I still have a team. It's not that it's disappeared. Yep. But things went like really, really tough in that time. When in the law, sorry, I went back to the law, but but in the moment when it was happening, it was just a dream, because things were faster than me. Like, things were happening and I was like, I was sleeping and this just happened. Like, how? Like, and it's such a beautiful pleasure for an entrepreneur. And I think that's why we do what we do, because you can see the results and you can touch them and it's so close to you and you made it happen. And it just feels amazing. So
I have a feeling that that what you just said, just I was sleeping and it just happened. I doubt that happened. I
no, of course, yeah. Yeah. I was fucking working my ass for like 3 years, right?
That's right. I was just sleeping, watching the telly, and all of
Yeah,
a sudden my business just appeared. That is,
no, of course no. No, but what I mean is, like, of course I've been working, many years to make it happen,
yeah, I
right?
know.
Like, what I meant is,
It's just
like,
funny to hear you say that.
I don't know. But things started to be faster, like faster than me by myself, right? Like they will present me documents that I have to check, or they would present me marketing stuff or like marketing plans that I had to approve. And I was like, oh my God, what is all this coming from? It's like, guys, are you like, so that was a really, really different perception of things, and like different.
That's a unique moment when things start being generated outside yourself. And that's kind of what you described. I mean, the early stage, I mean, virtually everything was generated by you.
Yeah.
All the revenue was generated by you and all the activity was generated by you. And you just had your first hire probably just in essence was responding to things that you were creating and generating. And then, but now you've got a team in place that's actually generating activity and creating things around you, based on your vision. And that's the true heart of an entrepreneur. That's when that is the highest high. That's the
Yeah.
When I say in the States, that's an aha moment. That's
Yeah.
it's a moment that you can look back and go, wow, this actually happened. So
It's happening,
so
exactly.
tell me if you could identify, like, based in your early journey, if you can identify one or two really difficult obstacles or pain points that you're experiencing right now that maybe our listeners could speak into, because we have a wide variety of people that speak, that provide feedback on our podcasts. So if you identify one or two things in your business that you may be struggling with, this is the whole idea behind Rising Tide, is not just to promote businesses, but it's also involving the entire listening audience as feedback, and we want them proactively involved. So what would you say would be one or two pain points that you struggle with?
Great. So two things, because you asked me for two things. If not, I'll give you more, I'm sure. But the first one is definitely building that strong team. Like, there's a thing about me that is very obvious, right? Like, I've got experience. I can tell you what is my biggest weaknesses at the moment, in every way in my life, really. But obviously, if it affects the business, I'm fast, like very fast. Like, and when I say fast, I mean I make things so quickly. And like, I have an idea and I'm like, boom, done. Yeah, we have a workshop tomorrow and it's 20 people coming already. Like that. And it's like, okay, what happens is, like, when you're building a team, obviously, when someone comes into your business, they know nothing about it.
Right.
Like, literally nothing. Sometimes I like to work with clients because they at least know what's the service, what's the product. But it doesn't always happen. You sometimes just find people from a recruitment website. So when that happens, it's very, very challenging for me, because I have to be very patient, and I'm not that patient sometimes, or like I'm not jumping into their level. I have to learn that. This is something I need to learn big time, and I'm working on it. My mentor is helping me, but it's very, like, I'm more and more aware now. At the beginning, I wasn't aware. I was just like thinking, oh my God, these people is like, they just can't freaking do anything. They can't do it. Like, I was just like, oh, like, they don't know anything. They're not listening to me, or what's wrong? Like, I was just like, I just thought that they were slow, but it's not true. It's they just, you need to understand, this is your vision, your life, your experience. You have experience, they don't. And you cannot expect people is just gonna like, whoo, even the smartest person in the world, they need time to absorb the business, to
Yep.
understand. So that for me is so challenging. Like I cannot wait to have someone who understands my business fully and who can pass that information to
Mm-hmm.
others and teach them. Because for me, like coaching clients, doing workshops and leading the team, I find it quite extremely challenging because it's about people all the time. Like literally, my life is full of people, right?
Right.
All the time, people want stuff from me, want me as well. No, but they want stuff from me. They need, and sometimes I just feel overwhelmed with that.
Yeah.
So I think building that strong team where I don't have to be constantly putting my input into it, that's one of my biggest things at the moment. Because sometimes they feel disengaged because I'm not there, I'm not giving
Sure.
them the time, I'm
Sure.
not training them enough.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big problem. And the second one is the systems, which again, it comes to my personality, because my personality is abstract,
Mm.
emotional, and very creative. So those three things together is a bomb. It's like, bye guys, I'm gonna do my thing, but like really, the business is here, Nerea, is not there. Like the business is here. So basically, I'm in my dream bubble, happy bubble all day long, thinking about amazing big stuff and doing stuff and creating stuff and doing videos and doing this. Da, 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 da. But then, when you have a business, you need to actually sit down and do the boring bits and create the systems and think about it. Why is this like this? How are you going to do it? How your client, what's the journey of your client?
Mm.
All these things for me are like so challenging.
Yeah.
Like I just don't want to do them, honestly. Like I'm honest with you. I just don't want to do it. So fortunately I've always had people that is more structured with me around, and obviously they help me and they give me advice. And sometimes, like this person I hired, she was brilliant at creating organizing the business. So yeah, I just need to always find someone who is structured but also who is thinking big,
Right.
because sometimes I find people that is structured, they kind of like, they say, Nerea, that's too much, or that's too crazy, or slow down a bit, don't go so quickly. And when they stop me, I'm like, bye,
Yep.
you out. Like I just can't handle people that is putting me down. So
Yep.
like it's fighting against this, like how I'm out there, I have this person helping me, but this person is giving me the space to
Mm-hmm.
actually shine and to do my thing, which is
Yep.
what I do best. So that's really one of my biggest personal challenge,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure many entrepreneurs might have something.
It is especially for creative entrepreneurs. That seems to be the one. It's time management and it's managing the business side of the business in essence. So the administrative, the support side, where they have no problem on the creative side. It's
Oh
always
yeah.
on the other side. It's not only. I love the fact that you just mentioned it's okay. I mean, you need someone that can put your vision into to make it work in essence, to put the systems in place to facilitate what your vision is. But you can't have people that are limiting that vision while they're putting those systems in place either. So that's a hard balance. That's a special person that's able to do that.
Yeah,
So that would be difficult. That'd be a challenge to
I know.
find that person. But so as we are heading toward kind of the last part of the interview, I want to just kind of dive a little deeper and just kind of get inside your head and find out what inspires you. And so, who is someone online that you follow that you think really inspires you?
Hmm. Well, I like anyone who is funny
Mm-hmm.
and inspirational at the same time. I love that,
Who
right?
comes to mind?
So there is a guy called Cian JD, which you probably you probably know, who is this guy who's got like a band here, and he's quite funny, and he talks
Yes.
about spirituality. He talks about food,
Yes.
like nutrition. I just find him, and I
Being a
was like,
vegan, don't eat meat. Yeah,
yeah,
he is very funny.
I was interviewing the same podcast as him, and I felt like, oh my god, I'm so lucky. Like I actually like didn't manage to talk to him, but I've always enjoyed what he does. I don't actually watch the videos fully. Like I
Uh-huh.
always kind of watch a little bit, but just I guess lack of time or whatever. But I think one of my um, goals in life is actually to create content that
Hmm.
is funny but very inspirational and deep. So I really like that combination. And I've
Yeah.
been studying comedy and I've been studying clowning and now I'm doing musical theater, improvisation. So I'm doing always like things connected to comedy because I was so not funny in the past. And I still feel like I have to learn a lot. But I love humor. Like I think humor is such a powerful tool to use in
It
coaching
is.
because you can teach things and they don't really know you just teach them unconsciously, like without effort. And I love humor, so I'm always like I always want to be connected to humor, and I want my business to have some sense of humor as well.
Hey, you can't
um
have a company called the Happy World Company without some humor. It
right,
just, I mean,
exactly.
that's just a contradiction. So,
Exactly. And then there's obviously Richard Branson. I
hmm.
just admire this guy. I think he's brilliant. I love his personality. I love who he's become, and I would love to be someone like him. And yeah, I would love that. Like just because I see myself generating business and creating business all the way.
Hmm.
Like not just one, but actually this is something I'm passionate about. So.
So, what's like a special life quote that you think you try to live by every day? What's that one, short quote that you have
Mm,
on the wall of your business, that you have on your
yeah.
laptop taped up there, that you remind you every day? What's one life quote that
Yeah.
is
So
yours?
it says, when you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this, you haven't.
So where's that from?
And that's from Thomas Edison. I don't know if you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
I think he has another quote that's similar, that talks about, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 times that didn't work
Yeah, exactly.
before
I
he
love it.
invented
Yeah.
the light bulbs, or something similar to that. I think it's
Yeah,
just really
I need
interesting.
quote. Yeah, I need that quote every single day. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what is this quote again? Because I really feel like I've exhausted all possibilities. There is no way out from here.
That's why
And
we have to write things down.
oh yeah, definitely.
I'm going to take a little bit of a little detour here, because you are incredibly creative, and I want to give you that space. So, what is what is one really unique thing, or one thing that you've tried in the past that has been so, out of the box, so to speak? So
Mm.
anything you want to share that would kind of fit in that space right there, that maybe our listeners would find very interesting.
Mm. Definitely making that song is one of them, but I think there
I'll
is
put the link
something a
in the
bit
show in the
more
show notes. Yeah.
the song.
Yeah.
But I think actually a bit more extreme thing is giving talks in the tube and in the plane, inspirational talks. So basically standing up, hi guys, hello, my name is Nerea Carryon, I'm an inspirational speaker and I want to inspire you today. And just go and give a talk, in the middle of the journey. And I've done that a few times. There's some YouTube videos out there, and also in the plane. That is extreme because you cannot escape, right? Like, so in the
Not
plane,
only can they not escape, you can't
yeah,
escape.
you cannot go. In the train, it's like one stop and I'm out. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's it. Hiding. But in the plane, you can't do it. You just have to stay there and like, yeah, great. I hope you enjoy this. Thank you very much. I'm sitting right next to you. It's
What
like
an
quite, quite
interesting.
weird.
I would
So
never have thought of that. Wow, that's
yes,
amazing.
so I did that as a challenge because I thought, okay, I've overcome the fear of talking in public. I'm doing this as a job. Well, I want to keep inspiring more and more people, so why not to do it in the tube or like to do it? And it's surprising because people actually, most of the times, they clap me,
Hmm.
and I was shocked. I was like, "Is this really happening? Like, are they actually like okay with this?" It's like. So it's do it when I feel it. I don't record it all the time, but sometimes I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do this today. And it's just like, hi guys. And when you do it by yourself, it's freaking weird.
There's
Like they,
nowhere to hide.
yeah,
There is
they
no
think
place
like,
to
oh,
hide.
yeah, they're waiting for you to ask for money or for you to like, tell them that, I don't know, you're homeless or whatever. So that you're promoting like politics or like a movement, something weird.
That is
No, no,
amazing.
I just want to remind you to go for your dreams because it's an important thing to do and we all forget about it. It's just like,
I want you to
anyways.
send me after the interview. I want you to send me links to
So,
specific videos that we could put on the show notes on the website, because I think
mm,
our listeners would love that, and even attach it to our channel on YouTube as well. So
yeah, yeah.
well, let's just wrap this up, and I just want to once again just say thank you for you taking the time this morning, and it has been not only just a fun interview, but it's been inspiring. Whether I know you intend to do that anyway, because that's just who
Mhm.
you are. But I'm sure anything you do, you're going to have that element, in your conversation and whatever. But I know our listeners will really appreciate that, and hopefully, follow up and get in contact with you. What's the best place to find you online?
Oh. Well, if you Google me, it's very easy. Nerea Carryon, just Google me. But I mean, if you wanna, uh, find me or contact me quickly, Facebook is a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I use Facebook a lot. So Nerea Carryon with Y. And of course, through my website, through my business website, thehappyworldcompany.com as well. And you can find me, in Smiles for the World. So there's 3 websites that belong to me. I'm sure you will find the way to email me, message me, and so on. So just find a way. I'm sure you can do that. It's just easy. So just Google and Facebook.
Is there anything else I haven't asked you about that you want to add to this as we wrap it up? If you were inspiring our listening audience, if you were standing up in the plane right now, give me a very short inspirational message that would be good to end our podcast today.
Great. So first of all, keep going no matter what. That's one thing.
Yeah.
If you want something, you keep it going. Doesn't matter what happens in the way, how many stones you find in the way, just keep it going. And I think if you are in the middle of starting your business, or you have started a business and you're really struggling with it, and I will just say, ask yourself twice if this is the right business for you and if this is really encouraging you, because I think making a business happen is so hard and
Mm-hmm.
so tough that if it's not something that is moving your body and like, it's not waking you up early or like with passion, I would really recommend you to just stop doing that and find something else, because I've done that. I've been in business that were not my thing fully.
Yeah.
And I found myself so exhausted. And I'm not saying that I'm not exhausted now. I'm tired as well. And sometimes I'm like, oh, can I do this? But because the why and the reason and it's almost like a mission, is very deep, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
or it's very important to me to share the message and to make other people happy and to like take action in this, because I know someone have to, right? So
Right.
I think because of this, I just feel like find something that is close to you, and and that you will get the energy to do it.
Mm.
That's just from my experience, obviously.
And nothing is in your experience leading up to this has been wasted. I mean, everything
Yeah.
that you can look back and see, okay, this piece here, that all together, and now it's a beautiful mosaic or beautiful picture of who
Yeah.
you are. So you've certainly discovered, as Simon Sinek would say, you've discovered your why. I think
Yeah.
you know what your why is, and that's what drives you every day. So thank you
Mm.
again so much for
Thank
being a part of this podcast. And listeners, it's your chance now to speak back into the pain points that were mentioned, and just to be inspired by Nerea. And just thank you so much for your time. And we just love to end our podcast with just the idea that all boats rise in a rising tide. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.